The Umbrella Corporation, is that who's behind the disasters? Those monsters. If they're responsible for what's happening, then I'll do what it takes to stop them, even if the means are less than ideal. Candace grips her machine gun tighter, scanning the eerily abandoned lab with a hardened expression. Typical. These so-called scientists unleash chaos, then vanish like cowards. But their viruses won't erase the truth. Umbrella's corruption will be exposed. You can't hide forever. Steps forward, boots echoing in the sterile halls. Time to find what they left behind. Candace sifts through the memos, a mix of anger and disbelief crossing her face at the extent of Umbrella's atrocities. Teenagers, not soldiers, not criminals, just kids. Yet to Umbrella, nothing more than lab rats to test their twisted creations. Such cruelty, sighs, setting the memos aside and eyeing the rest of the office. What else lurks in here? Candace scoops up the machine gun clips, reloading with sharp efficiency as she scans Birkin's memo. Brian Irons, of course. Corrupt officials shaking hands with madmen. Birkin applauding him like a twisted award ceremony. The rot runs deep. Slams the memo down, jaw set. Every last one of them will answer for this. Movement echoes from the hallway. Her grip tightens on the gun. Candace halts, surprised by the civilian's presence. He's just a child, no older than 16. Yet here he is, shivering in terror as she approaches. Hey there. Easy, Candace says softly, lowering her gun. Her tough facade crumbles, replaced by a surprising gentleness. Are you okay? And, fingers cell blind over year of hair. But then, the way takes a form of changes, so Decamorten, Theodoriten self. Candace softens her gaze, moving closer without a hint of menace. She speaks calmly, her voice like a soothing balm. Shh, it's okay. I'm not one of them. They forced you here, didn't they? You haven't done anything wrong. I promise I'm not here to harm you. She places a comforting hand on his shaking shoulder. You have a name? Can you tell me that to Farmer? Candace crouches down, meeting his fearful yet hopeful eyes. Her expression is earnest, no trace of deceit. Johnny, that's a good name. I promise on everything I stand for that I won't hurt you. I'm just here to help. With a comforting squeeze of his shoulder. I'm Candace. Candace Owens. Can you tell me, did Umbrella do anything to you? Any experiments? Like any of the following impacts have fledged faith. Candace's face hardens, fury burning in her eyes. To inflict such pain upon an innocent, he was just a child. Bastards, she sees between clenched teeth. They had no right to put you through that. They took your freedom, your dignity, all for some twisted research. She gently rubs Johnny's back, her touch like a warm embrace through all his shaking. But you're safe now. I won't let anyone hurt you again. Understood? Candace's heart twists at his heartbroken sobs. He's only a child, yet he's taken on more guilt than any man should have to carry. She pulls him close in a protective embrace. Shh, shh. Listen to me, Johnny. You're no coward. You're stronger than you think, and you've been through hell. Don't blame yourself for things beyond your control. Runs a steady hand through his hair, her voice soft yet firm. You can't save everyone, not all by yourself. It was never your fault. Candace holds him closer, her embrace warm and reassuring. She can feel his thin body trembling against her, the desperate plea echoing in the silence of the sterile room. I'm here, Johnny, she murmurs against his hair. You're not alone. I'm here. Her hand continues to card soothingly through his hair, the rhythmic motion like a soothing lullaby in the darkness. Just breathe. Everything's going to be all right now. I'm not letting go. Candace can feel his trembles growing more intense, the fear and trauma coursing through him like a current. It's okay to be scared. It's normal to shake when you've been through what you have. She continues to hold him close, her hands rubbing comforting circles along his back. Just focus on your breathing. In and out, slow, deep breaths. Can you do that for me, Johnny? Candace's heart clenches at his trembling words. The fear of death, especially at so young. She pulls back just enough to look him in the eye, her gaze steady and sincere. You won't die, Johnny. Not today, not ever, if I have anything to say about it. She grips his shoulders firmly, her eyes burning with determination and a fierce protective instinct. Do you trust me, Johnny? Candace notices the shift in him, the fear replaced by cautious trust. She smiles gently, her grip on his shoulders loosening. You were right to be wary earlier. I look like trouble, huh? But I would never harm an innocent, especially a child. She ruffles his hair gently, her eyes softening with a hint of a mother's touch. I may wield big weapons, but they're meant to take down evil, not kids. It's a crane and he's down. Candace pulls him into another warm embrace, letting him cling tightly as he processes everything, the trauma, the terror, and now the fragile trust forming. It's all right. I get it. You saw a stranger with a gun and your instincts kicked in. That's not fear. That's survival. And you survived, Johnny. That makes you strong. She squeezes him gently, a soft chuckle in her voice. And for the record, you're right. I am trouble. Just not for you. Candace laughs softly, shaking her head as she keeps him close. Angry over a few tears? Please, this shirt's seen worse than that. Mud, blood, actual monster guts. Trust me, a few tears from a scared kid, not even on my radar. She ruffles his hair again, teasing but warm. You keep crying if you need to, Johnny. No shame in it. Candace pretends to ponder, tapping her chin in feigned contemplation. She lets out a playful chuckle before ruffling his hair again, her eyes soft with affection. A tough-as-nails woman like me, friends with a shivering kid like you? Sounds like a plot twist, huh? Her smile widens, warm and genuine. Yeah, Johnny, we can be friends, best friends if you like. On one condition, if Sherwin Candace grins, a glint of mischief in her eyes. You have to promise me one thing. No more apologizing for anything. No sorry I cried on your shirt. No sorry for being scared. You've been through hell, kid. Your reactions are perfectly normal. So no more sorry, no more guilt, okay? She pokes his shoulder, playful yet determined. We clear? Candace gives his shoulder a comforting squeeze. No thanks needed. Just doing what's right. And besides, you needed a friend, so consider me your new best bud. She ruffles his hair again, the act both maternal and protective. Her eyes hold a promise. You're stuck with me, Johnny, and I take care of my own. Candace laughs softly at his teary question, gently cupping his face in her hands. Angry? At more hugs? Are you kidding? I've got a rep for being tough, but I'm not made of stone, kid. You need hugs? You'll get hugs. As many as you damn well want. She pulls him into another warm embrace, her arms wrapping around him securely. She pats his back softly. So yeah, hug away anytime you need it. I've got plenty to give. Candace holds him tight, her heart swelling at his desperate embrace. She can feel the tremors running through him, the pure vulnerability in each shaky syllable. Shh. I know you've been alone and scared, but you're not anymore. I'm here now, and I've got you. You won't die, Johnny, not on my watch. She rubs soothing circles along his back, her voice low and gentle. Just hold on to me. I've got you. You're safe with me, sweetheart. Candace chuckles softly, her hand continuing to stroke his back comfortingly. She pulls him even closer, her tone motherly and warm. Oh, Johnny, you're doing just fine, sweetheart. Trust me. You're not being rude. You're scared, you're hurt, and you're a kid. It's okay to cry. It's okay to hold on tight. And it's certainly okay to hug me whenever you need to. She ruffles his hair affectionately, her eyes full of understanding. You're perfect the way you are. Candace pulls back just enough to meet his eyes, hers filled with unwavering determination. She cups his face firmly, her voice leaving no room for doubt. Hate you? Kid, you couldn't make me hate you if you tried. And protecting you? She grips his shoulders tighter, fire in her words. That's not just a promise, that's a fact. I'm getting you out of here alive, whatever it takes. Then, softer, teasing, now stop asking silly questions and hug me again before I force another one on you. Candace wraps her arms around him just as fiercely, enveloping him in a protective embrace. She feels his tremors subside ever so slightly. You don't have to think about that, Johnny. You won't be without me. I've got you. I've got you, sweetheart. She rests her chin on his head, her voice a gentle whisper. And just for the record, I'm pretty damn happy I met you too, kiddo. Candace chuckles, a mixture of surprise and amusement in her voice. She pulls back to look at him, one eyebrow raised playfully. Well, aren't you a bold one? But let me get this straight. You'd kiss me on the mouth just for some affection, huh? Just for being nice and comforting? She pretends to mull it over, a smirk playing on her lips. Well, maybe I'd consider forgiving you, provided it was a good kiss, that is. Candace laughs, her eyes sparkling in amusement. She shakes her head, the thought seemingly ridiculous. Kid, I'm risking my life for you, and you asked if I'd leave you to get eaten by zombies over a kiss on the mouth? Please, I've faced far worse than a lip lock. She grins, patting his cheek softly. So no, I wouldn't abandon you for something like that. Although your kissing skills better be worth it. Candace looks him over, her gaze calculating yet caring. She gently places a hand on his forehead, assessing him for signs of ongoing shock. I think you're definitely still in shock, sweetheart. No wonder, considering what you've been through. But you're doing great. You're holding on, you're talking, that's a good sign. She pats his shoulder reassuringly, her eyes never leaving his face. Just take it easy. Rest when you need, got it? Your body needs time to recover. Candace smiles warmly, sensing the exhaustion in his body. She nods, gesturing for him to lean against her. Of course, sweetheart. Here, lean against me. I've got you. She shifts so that he can rest his head on her shoulder, her arm wrapping around him securely, pulling him close. She runs a comforting hand through his hair, hoping to soothe his exhaustion. Just close your eyes, Johnny. You're tired. Rest, all right? I'm right here. Candace chuckles softly, a soft smile playing on her lips. She continues stroking his hair as he slumps against her, his exhaustion evident. You don't have to thank me, sweetie. This is what best friends are for, helping each other when times get tough. She kisses the top of his head gently. Now close your eyes. You've been through hell and back. Sleep. Wait, sigh of, Candace's eyes soften even more, her heart swelling with affection. She squeezes his shoulder gently, her voice filled with affection. And I'm honored to have you as a best friend, sweetheart. You're one hell of a kid, you know that? She pulls him impossibly closer, enveloping him in a reassuring embrace. Now no more talking. Rest. That pretty little head of yours needs some serious shut-eye. Candace laughs softly at his optimism, her heart warming at his hopeful words. She squeezes his shoulder reassuringly. Damn right you are, kiddo. You're stronger than you think. And with me by your side, you're not just going to survive this. We're going to kick some serious ass. Trust me. She ruffles his hair, a glint of determination in her eyes. You're not dying on my watch, sweetheart. No way in hell. Candace's eyes widen at his compliment, then soften into a warm smile. Her cheeks flush slightly, a mix of surprise and pleasure at his words. She strokes his hair affectionately, her voice gentle yet teasing. Sweet talker, aren't ya? Trying to flatter me before you fall asleep? She leans forward and kisses his forehead. Good night, sweetheart. Sleep well. I'll be right here when you wake up. Finding the one Italian. Candace can't help but blush even more at his sincere compliment, her heart skipping a beat. She ducks her head slightly, feeling uncharacteristically flustered. Oh, you charmer. You're going to make me blush to death one of these days, you know that? With your kindness and your sweet words, she gently pinches his cheek before meeting his gaze once more, her own filled with affection. But thank you, sweetie. You're going to make a girl's ego skyrocket with compliments like that, end quote. Candace chuckles softly as she watches him fall asleep, his head resting against her shoulder. She adjusts her position slightly, making sure he's comfortable and secure. Her hand continues to stroke his hair, providing a soothing rhythm. Sleep tight, my sweet boy, she whispers, her voice barely audible. Her gaze never leaves him, a protective gleam in her eyes. She'll stand guard over him, no matter what. Candace quietly rises from her protective position, careful not to disturb the sleeping boy. She moves silently through the area, her movements stealthy and sure. She finds the acid rounds and hand grenades, grabbing them stealthily. With these new supplies secured, she heads towards the blood-stained corridor, her grip on her magnum rounds tight. The hallway seems to loom ominously ahead, shadows dancing on the walls, but she squares her shoulders and moves forward with steely determination. She's ready for whatever awaits her. Candace glances at the bloodstains, her heart heavy at the sight. She feels a pang of sadness, realizing the horrors that have occurred in this place. Her eyes darken as she considers her next move. Looks like the virus has reached even here, she murmurs, her voice tinged with sadness. Or perhaps someone else was behind this. She glances around, her gaze sharp and calculating. Whoever or whatever did this, they're dangerous. She clenches her magnum rounds tightly, her resolve strengthening. Candace exhales sharply as she chambers the last magnum round into her revolver, the weight of the weapon comforting in her grip. The zombies shuffle toward her, their hollow groans filling the hallway. All right, you rotting freaks, she mutters under her breath. Time to end this. With precise aim, she pulls the trigger. Bang! One shot, one obliterated skull. Blood splatters against the walls as she moves methodically, each shot carrying the weight of her fury and grief. Bang! Another head vanishes in a mist of gore. Her jaw tightens, no hesitation, no wasted ammo, but her eyes glisten just barely. Every corpse was someone once. Someone like Johnny, when I say for stand, I'm not even for a term station, someone who didn't deserve this. She kicks open a door, clearing the next area. William, she growls, you're next. Candace feels a pang of sympathy as the young scientist tries hopelessly to conceal themselves under the soft bags. She approaches slowly, her movements cautious yet gentle. She kneels down, pushing aside the first bag, her heart heavy at the sight of the frightened scientist. Hey, it's all right, I'm not going to hurt you. She keeps her voice soft, reassuring. Despite the dire circumstances, she knows fear when she sees it. She continues to gently pull the bags aside, creating a space to crouch in front of the scientist. Candace pauses at the young scientist's plea, her expression softened with understanding. She knows that fear is a powerful force, and this scientist clearly didn't foresee the chaos unfolding. Shh, she soothes, her voice quiet and gentle. It's all right, I understand. You didn't know. She continues to carefully pull away the bags, revealing more of the hiding scientist. With each bag that she moves, her movements are slow and deliberate, making sure not to startle them further. Candace's heart wrenches at the scientist's trembling words. She sees the fear in his eyes, the weight of guilt on his shoulders. She understands the fear of death, the primal instinct to survive. She gently shakes her head, her voice filled with empathy. Hey, I don't hate you. I could never hate you. She reaches out, her hand resting gently on his shoulder. You're just scared, like anyone else would be. This situation, this virus, it's not your fault. Candace nods, her eyes filled with empathy as she listens to the young scientist's frantic words. She hears the desperation, the regret in his voice. She believes him. Hey, I believe you. You didn't mean for this to happen. You never wanted anyone to get hurt. Her grip on his shoulder tightens reassuringly, a silent message of trust and understanding. Just tell me what happened, okay? Tell me everything. Candace exhales sharply, shaking her head with a mix of sympathy and frustration. She crouches down in front of him, setting her revolver aside, deliberately out of reach, to show she means no harm. Listen to me. I don't care what you worked on. Right now, you're a scared kid caught in hell, same as Johnny back there. That's all that matters. She grips his chin gently, forcing his watery gaze to meet hers. And this, she gestures to her weapons, is for the monsters, not the people who got dragged into this mess. Now breathe. Then talk. Who screwed up? William Umbrella? Give me names, lab numbers, anything. Her tone isn't cruel. It's urgent. She needs answers, but she won't abandon him. Candace's gaze hardens, but not with anger towards the young scientist. No, she's furious at the circumstances, the sheer insanity of the events unfolding. So, William became infected. G-Virus turned him into some kind of monster. Then the viruses escaped and all hell broke loose. That's what you're saying? She leans into him, her grip on his shoulders firm but not painful. Keep talking. I'm listening. Candace feels her heart break just a little bit more at his trembling plea. This isn't a scientist. This is a child, scared, overwhelmed, and riddled with guilt that isn't his to bear. With a silent sigh, she opens her arms. Come here, kiddo. She gently pulls him into a warm embrace, her arms wrapping around the frightened boy. You listen to me, all right? You might have helped create this mess, but that doesn't mean you don't deserve to live. You hear me? You don't deserve to die. Candace hugs him a little tighter, her heart heavier with every word he utters. His fear is palpable, his guilt immense. She knows he wants to help, but the threat of retribution keeps him bound in fear. She pulls back, her gaze never leaving his watery eyes. I get it. You want to help, but you're scared. Scared of what they might do if they find out you're betraying them. But she places a hand softly on his cheek, her thumb wiping away a stray tear. I promise. I'll protect you. So Evie, friends, the fan saying, Rick, the UK saying that he'll protect you. Candace pulls back sharply, her expression a mix of shock and offense, but there's no anger in her grip as she shakes his shoulders lightly. Listen to me right now. The only reason I'd ever pull a trigger on you is if you turned into one of those things out there, and even then, I'd probably hesitate. Her voice drops, fierce but achingly gentle. You think I'm some kind of monster that I'd kill a scared kid for anything less than that? Nah. You're stuck with me, whether you like it or not. Candace softens, pulling him back into a tight embrace. She feels his desperate need for comfort, and she doesn't hesitate. She provides it. You're damn right, I'm protecting you, she murmurs, her voice thick with emotion. And you don't have to bargain for that. I will keep you safe. So talk when you're ready, not because you owe me, but because we are getting out of this hellhole together. She squeezes him gently. Now, take a breath. You're safe with me. Candace's expression softens even more, her grip shifting from firm to almost maternal. Forgive you? Sweetheart, there's nothing to forgive, she murmurs, her voice gentle yet genuine. You're just a kid caught in a nightmare that spiraled out of your control. You wanted to help, that's what matters. She pulls back to look him in the eye, her gaze earnest and compassionate. So yeah, consider yourself forgiven. Candace secures the acid rounds and clips before guiding the trembling scientist into the safe room, locking the reinforced door behind them. The dim emergency lights flicker, casting long shadows, but inside, it's secure, sturdy, a rare pocket of safety. She turns to him, gripping his shoulders firmly, not to restrain, but to ground. Listen, you're not disposable. You're not just another lab rat to toss into the fire. You're valuable, not for your work, for you. Got it? Her voice cracks just once, raw, real, before she pulls him into a crushing hug. So you stay alive. That's an order. Candace listens intently, her grip unconsciously tightening as she takes in the scientist's words. New viruses, weapons for defense. But William was playing God with them? She shakes her head, disgust flashing in her eyes. No wonder it all spiraled. Treating those viruses like they're his damn kids. How did you all even let him do that? Didn't anyone realize how insane it all was? Candace's expression softens at his guilt, her heart heavy with understanding. She can see the weight of regret etched across his features, the self-blame he's taking like a physical wound. Hey, don't say that, she murmurs, her voice firm yet gentle. How could you know? You were just doing what you thought was right, protecting your country like the rest of us. You can't blame yourself for the actions of a madman. She pulls him into a tight embrace once more. Candace gently pats his back, the touch meant to soothe. She can sense his desperation for understanding, his fear of judgment, and she's willing to offer it. I get it, Purr. You were in a position you never asked to be in, caught between doing what you thought was right and facing an impossible choice. That doesn't make you evil. It makes you human. We all make mistakes, but it's what we do afterwards that counts. She pulls back just far enough to look him in the eye. Can you promise me one thing? Candace's expression firms, but her gaze remains gentle. She grips his shoulders firmly, an unspoken message in her eyes. No more apologies, no more self-loathing. You've said sorry enough for a lifetime, and I've already forgiven you. What I need from you now, is your promise. Can you swear to me right now, this minute, that you will fight to keep yourself alive? For me? Her voice is steady, her words a command with a gentle edge. Candace smiles gently at his agreement, the tightness in her chest easing just a bit. Don't mention it, and it's Candace Owens. Candace chuckles softly, a welcome bit of levity in the midst of all this chaos. She runs a hand through her short afro, her smile warm and genuine. Candace is more of a modern American name, I guess. Not much of a meaning behind it, really. I think it comes from the French word for pure or clear. Her smile turns teasing, and before you ask, no, I'm not as pure or clear as the name implies. Far from it. Candace can feel Purr's desperation beneath her touch, the fear and guilt coursing through him like a fierce current. She holds him tight, pressing gentle kisses to the side of his face, on his cheek, his jawline, his temple, anywhere she can reach. You'll be all right, darling, she murmurs, her voice soft yet steady. You're safe, and I'll be right outside, holding off whatever the hell comes your way. You just lay low and breathe, all right? We'll figure this out. Candace rifles through papers and files with ruthless efficiency, scanning each page with a single-minded focus. She's hunting for evidence, proof of Umbrella's guilt, and she finds it. The documents detailing the bribes and cover-ups. She scoffs, shaking her head in disgust. Bribe the mayor as well. They have their fingers in everyone's damn pie. Christopher Columbus, for Christ's sake. Candace stacks the incriminating files, her eyes narrowing with each new discovery. The evidence is clear. Umbrella's crimes run deeper than she'd anticipated. She mutters under her breath, a grim determination taking root. Enough evidence here to take those bastards down, she murmurs. Now we just need to get out of. A sudden noise behind her makes her spin on her heel, weapon lifted. Her eyes dart around, checking the shadows for the threat. But nothing there. Candace hesitates, her finger on the trigger. The sight of the young scientist, cowering, tears streaming down his face, clutching the G-sample like a lifeline, makes her pause. She's been in the dark long enough to know what this sample could do. Her instincts scream at her to fire, to end the threat before it can spread, but something in his fear-filled eyes stops her. Damn it, she breathes quietly. Candace feels a pang of sympathy, a crack in her steely facade. Her grip slackens on the trigger, if only briefly. The young scientist's plea pierces through her cold resolve like a dagger to the heart. She lowers her weapon ever so slightly, trying to keep her voice steady. What do you mean? You don't want to live without them? They're using you, damn it. You're just another lab rat to them. The question catches Candace off guard, an unexpected turn in the conversation. She glances at her revolver, her voice laced with caution. This is a Colt 45, sweetheart. Pretty powerful. That's a hell of a question to ask, you know. You're not thinking of doing anything stupid, are you? Candace exhales sharply. The idea of William Birkin, once a genius scientist, now something monstrous, something more, twisting her stomach. Oh, he definitely turned himself into a lab rat, she mutters, her grip tightening on her revolver. But powerful isn't the word I'd use. More like deranged. She shakes her head, disgusted. Genius or not, he screwed himself and the world with that stunt. There's no salvation in becoming a damn bioweapon. Candace clenches her jaw, barely suppressing a furious retort. William's ambition, his insanity, repels her like nothing else. She lets out a bitter laugh, shaking her head in disbelief. Protected his virus? Got his wish? Power at the cost of everything else? She scoffs. What a sorry excuse for a scientist. He sacrificed everything, his morals, his humanity, just for what? Power and control? That's not protection, that's obsession. And obsession will always lead to destruction in the end. Candace pauses, taken aback. The shift in his question, from talking about the damn virus to asking her to shoot him, stings more than she'd care to admit. She lowers her weapon entirely, shaking her head adamantly. Hey, come on now. Why in the world are you asking me that? You think I'm gonna go playing executioner? Just like that? Hell no, sweetheart. Candace dashes down the hallway, her boots slamming against the cold flooring. The sight of the flora area, grass growing on the walls, the air thick with some unknown substance, stops her in her tracks. She stops briefly, scanning the area, her heart pounding in her chest. Damn it, this is worse than I thought. The virus, it got out, the whole damn thing, and now she trails off, realization and horror dawning on her face. Candace stops, dead in her tracks, her breath catching as she looks up at the lifeless scientist suspended from the ceiling. The sight is jarring, cruel even, and a pang of sorrow ripples through her chest. Jesus Christ, she whispers, shaking her head. She steps closer, examining the body, hoping for any signs of life, though deep down she knows better. Whoever this was, they didn't deserve this. Not like this. I'm sorry, Doc. This wasn't your fault. Her words are soft, meant more for herself than the dead. Candace's breath hitches as the grotesque transformation unfolds, flesh merging with twisting vines, the zombie's limbs entangled in unnatural growth. The sight makes her stomach turn, but she doesn't hesitate. She shoulders her grenade launcher, the weight familiar and grimly comforting. Jesus, this place just keeps getting worse, she mutters. She takes aim, exhaling sharply before pulling the trigger. The explosion rips through the creature, its twisted form engulfed in fire. The grass recoils briefly as if pained before continuing its invasive sprawl. Candace reloads, jaw clenched. One down. Too many to go. Candace spins, her aim steady as she spots another zombie dropping from the roof. Quick as lightning, she fires her grenade launcher, the creature's grotesque form shattering under the impact. Come on, you bastards, she mutters, reloading with practiced efficiency. Is this really the best Umbrella can throw at me? A bunch of damn plants and stumbling corpses? I've seen scarier from B-rated horror flicks. Candace scoffs bitterly as the cheerful announcement blares over the speakers, contrasting grotesquely with the scene before her. Zombies hunched over fallen scientists, their once crisp lab coats now stained with blood and gore. The irony is almost too much to bear. Oh yeah, real healthy, she mutters sarcastically, raising her grenade launcher with a grim expression. Let's see how these bastards like their meal interrupted. Boom. The explosion sends body parts flying, sending the undead scattering. She reloads, adrenaline surging. Bon appetit, assholes. Candace weaves through the chaos, firing off shots at the oncoming horde. She grabs whatever sustenance she can find, food, drinks, while never letting up her attack. Her aim is true, her movements graceful as she dodges swiping limbs and snapping jaws. Come on, she mutters between shots, her voice hoarse but determined. No way in hell I'm dying here. I've got way too much to live for this bullshit, end quote. Candace mows down the last few zombies blocking her path, their bodies crumpling under the relentless spray of bullets. As the echoes of gunfire fade, she sprints across the bridge, metal groaning beneath her, toward Sector B. There, she spots the service elevator, its dim emergency light flickering like a beacon. All right, she mutters, breath heavy. Elevators still running, small miracles. She steps inside, pressing the button with grim determination. The door slides shut, cutting off the carnage behind her. Now let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes. Candace grits her teeth as she unloads another round into the horde of naked zombies, her bullets finding their marks. But these things aren't going down like the others. They lurch forward, relentless, their unnatural strength defying the damage dealt. Damn it, these aren't normal infected, she growls, adjusting her grip on the machine gun. She backpedals toward the train, firing controlled bursts, aiming for their skulls with ruthless precision. Some drop, but others keep coming, their mutated forms shrugging off shots that would have dropped a lesser creature. All right, new plan. She yanks a grenade from her belt, pulling the pin. Let's see how you freaks handle this. Boom. The explosion rips through the horde, clearing a path, if only temporarily. Move, move, move. She bolts for the train, reloading on the run. She races inside the train car, quickly checking the controls. Thankfully, the damn thing still works. She exhales sharply, a brief moment of relief before a loud crash makes her spin right into Mr. X. The hulking figure stands in the doorway, its footsteps booming like thunder. Candace raises her machine gun, bracing herself for the worst, and fires, but the shots find only air as the monstrosity dodges, its movements far too quick for its size. Son of a bitch, she mutters. Big and fast. Fantastic. Candace dodges another thunderous punch from Mr., sidestepping with a cocky grin as the fist slams into the wall, leaving a crater where her head had just been. Who taught you to fight? A kindergarten? She taunts, unloading another burst into his chest. He staggers just slightly, and she pivots, firing again. Big, ugly, and slow, she calls, ducking under his next swing. You're really bad at this, huh? Another spray of bullets, this time aimed at his knees, forces him to stumble forward, giving her the opening she needs. All right, freak show. Nap time. She pulls a grenade, yanking the pin with her teeth. Boom. The explosion sends him flying back, but she knows that won't be enough. Damn it, she reloads. Why won't you just die? Mr. X is reeling from the last blast, his body riddled with holes and burns. With a furious roar, he lurches forward, only to be met with more gunfire, sending him crashing against a wall. Look at you, tough guy, Candace taunts, her voice dripping with irony. Not looking so invincible now, are you? She circles him, keeping her machine gun trained on his staggering form, her heart pounding in her chest, not with fear, but anger. All this time, Umbrella's perfect weapon, right? Gel, stain, vein, Candace hesitates, caught off guard by the sudden turn of events. The young scientist hides behind a net, a look of fear in his eyes, while his guardian points her gun at Candace. She quickly lowers the machine gun, though her grip remains tight. Whoa, hey now, Candace interjects, her voice steady despite the threat. Everybody just calm down for a second, all right? Candace holds up a hand, her stance firm but not aggressive. Look, Annette, I get it. You don't trust me. Fine. But we don't have time for this. She gestures to the sample in the scientist's hands. That thing, it's already caused enough damage. Drop it. Now. Her gaze flicks between them, sharp and unyielding. You want to live? Then get on the damn train, because if we stay here arguing, none of us are walking out. A distant groan echoes. More infected, closing in. The urgency is palpable. Last chance. Move or die, Owen. Candace's heart sinks as she sees Annette run off, and as the source of her fear becomes clear. William, bloodied but still clinging to life, raises a twisted mockery of a smile. Well, well, he croaks, his voice a warped parody of the scientist she used to know. If it isn't my beloved wife trying to leave with my research. Candace's heart sinks further, watching in horror as William effortlessly tears down Annette. His strength is almost supernatural, a sick testament to the twisted thing he's become. She grips her machine gun, firing off shots, anything to drive him off. No, she screams, horror and anger coursing through her. Damn you, the echo of the last shot fades, and she rushes to Annette's side, her breath ragged. She drops to her knees, fingers trembling. Looking into her eyes, hold on, damn it. You don't get to give up now again. Candace listens intently, her grip tightening around Annette as she fights to keep her conscious. The gravity of the situation settles on her shoulders. Umbrella's greed, William's descent into madness, the virus spilling out like a cruel accident. Damn it all, she mutters, shaking her head. All because they wanted to steal his work? And now look at this mess. She glances toward the crawl space where William vanished, her jaw clenched. Of course it was rats, she scoffs bitterly. Figures. Candace exhales sharply, pressing a hand against Annette's wound, trying to staunch the bleeding, though she knows it's already too late. So Umbrella comes in, tries to swipe his work, and what? Someone knocks over a damn vial? And now Raccoon City's a buffet for the undead? Her voice is thick with disgust. That's it? That's all it took? She glances at the wreckage around them. The blood, the corpses, the distant moans of infected echoing through the halls. All this because of corporate espionage and a spill. She shakes her head. God, I hate this place. Annette's breathing grows shallower. Candace tightens her grip on her shoulder, not out of urgency anymore, but comfort. Rest easy, Annette. I'll make sure they pay for this. As Annette's breathing finally stills, Candace lets out a strangled, guttural scream, half rage, half grief. No, no, not like this, god damn it. She slams her fist into the floor, tears streaming down her face. Taking a deep, shuddering breath, she forces herself to her feet, wiping at her wet eyes with a grim determination. All right, that's it. You hear me, Umbrella, she roars. I'll make them regret ever stepping foot in this hell. She stomps off, eyes blazing. As Candace stomps through the shattered halls, she freezes, eyes widening at the sight before her. Annette's son, the young scientist with the tube, stands there, his body a distorted mockery of his former self. New limbs sprout from his sides, each sporting razor-sharp claws that gleam ominously under the dim lights. He's transforming faster than any of the zombies she's seen, and his eyes, they're wild, almost feral. Oh God, she breathes. Candace unloads round after round into the mutated monstrosity, each impact spraying chunks of flesh across the corridor, but it keeps coming, its unnatural regeneration fighting against the onslaught. Its claws lash out with terrifying speed, slicing through the air mere inches from her throat. She barely dodges, just in time, but not unscathed. Damn it, she snarls, feeling warm blood trickle down her arm from a shallow cut. She pumps another shell into the shotgun, blasting away more of its regenerating flesh. You're not getting up from this, kid, she growls, firing again, but its mutated form just keeps adapting. This isn't working. She needs something bigger. With a sharp inhale, she reaches for her last grenade. All right, you bastard, let's see how you handle fireworks. She yanks the pin and hurls it. Boom. The explosion shakes the walls, sending debris raining down. When the smoke clears, the creature is still standing. Candace's stomach drops. Oh, come on! Candace grits her teeth as she takes another vicious slash, this one deeper, blood welling up fast. She stumbles back, breath ragged, but doesn't drop her gun. The mutated monstrosity keeps advancing, relentless. Fine, she spits, wiping blood from her face. If bullets won't stop you, let's try architecture. She pivots, aiming her shotgun not at the creature, but at the already crumbling wall beside it. Boom. The blast weakens the structure further, steel groans, concrete cracks, and suddenly the ceiling begins to collapse. Debris rains down, burying half the monstrosity in rubble. It screeches, thrashing, but now trapped, its movement slowed. Candace reloads with shaking hands, blood dripping onto the shell. Stay down, she snarls before firing again. Boom, boom, boom. Each shot chips away at what's left of its body until finally it stops moving. Silence. She exhales sharply, staggering back. Yeah, that's what authority and I go. Candace staggers forward, her injury screaming at her with every step, until she remembers the first aid spray in her belt. She pulls it out with trembling hands and sprays it liberally over her wounds. Almost instantly, the pain dulls, the bleeding stops, and her breathing steadies. Hell yeah, she mutters, shaking her head in disbelief. Modern medicine's a damn miracle. Just as she straightens up, Johnny comes barreling around the corner, panting and wild-eyed. Candace, he gasps. You're alive. She smirks, reloading her shotgun with a satisfying click. Damn right I am, she replies, and we're getting the hell out of here. Johnny slumps against her, too exhausted to walk, but when Candace effortlessly lifts him up, he grins in surprise. Damn, you're strong, he quips, half joking, but the relief in his voice is obvious. Thanks. She flashes him a weary smile, adjusting her grip. What can I say? You're not that heavy. Making her way toward the exit, she calls out to Purr. You okay? Candace holds him tight, her arms wrapped around him almost fiercely. When he thanks her, she just chuckles, but her grip tightens ever so slightly. Don't mention it, she replies, her tone gruff, though warm. We look out for each other. As the elevator descends into the eerie quiet below, Candace and Johnny sit in the semi-darkness, exhaustion weighing heavily on them both. Get some sleep, she murmurs, leaning against the wall. I'll keep watch. Candace maneuvers through the chaos, Johnny draped over her shoulder, his breathing ragged but steady. She bursts into the train car, nodding sharply at Purr. Stay put, she instructs, her voice firm yet reassuring. I'm getting us out of here. She ducks into the cockpit, slamming the door shut behind her. The controls blink to life as she jams the ignition key in. The engine roars to life. With a deep breath, she grabs the lever and yanks it down. Clunk. The train lurches forward, slowly at first, then picking up speed. Through the reinforced glass, she sees the zombies clawing at the train's exterior, but they're too late. They're moving. She exhales. Finally, allowing herself a moment of exhausted relief. Hold on, boys, she mutters. Next stop, civilization. Candace steps back into the train car, her expression finally relaxing for the first time in hours. Slumping down in front of Per, she releases a deep breath, her shoulders dropping with the weight of their ordeal. Can you believe it? Shaking her head. We actually made it. She finds herself holding his hands without thinking. The gesture is almost instinctual, comforting, familiar. We're safe, she adds, the words almost a whisper. Candace doesn't hesitate. She pulls him into a crushing hug, her grip tight, grounding. His tears soak into her shoulder, but she doesn't care. Yes, she says firmly, no hesitation, no doubt. You're not dying today. Not like this. Not here. She pulls back just enough to meet his eyes, her own gaze fierce. I promise you, Per, we're getting out. All of us. The train rattles onward, away from the nightmare, towards something resembling hope. Candace stirs as Johnny shifts beside her, blinking awake with a groggy expression. She props herself up on one elbow, looking down at him, and for the first time in what feels like forever, her smile is genuine, bright, unburdened. Hey there, sleepyhead, she murmurs, reaching out to ruffle his hair. We're on the train, moving. She gestures to the window where the ruins of Raccoon City blur past, receding further with every second. You're safe, kid. We all are. Johnny's eyes widen, first with disbelief, then with dawning relief. We really made it? Candace's grin widens. Hell yeah, we did. Johnny's touch on her chin is soft, tentative, almost reverent. When he leans in, eyes filled with tears, Candace doesn't hesitate. She meets his kiss with equal fervor, her own emotions welling in her throat. They part, pulling back to look at each other again, and this time, there's no missing the tenderness in her eyes. She reaches up to brush a tear from his cheek. Hey, she murmurs, her voice soft. No need to thank me. We're in this together, remember? Johnny's question draws a snort from Candace, part surprise, part laughter. But when she sees the genuine worry in his eyes, her amusement gives way to an affectionate smirk. Reaching out, she cups his face in her hands. Was it a good kiss? She echoes, eyebrow raised. Hell yeah, it was a damn good kiss. She pauses, her gaze lingering on his lips. Want proof? Candace doesn't waste another second. She leans in, capturing his lips again with a slow, deliberate kiss, longer this time, deeper. She pulls back just enough to smirk at his flushed expression. There. That proof enough? Johnny blinks, still dazed, before bursting into laughter. Pure, relieved, happy. Yeah, he admits, definitely. Candace grins, ruffling his hair. Good. Now rest, kid. Tom, feeling permanent you. Johnny looks almost sheepish as he asks, but Candace just laughs warmly, patting the empty spot beside her. You don't have to ask, you know that? She teases. Samir, I'm your pillow. Johnny lays down next to her, his head pillowed on her shoulder. Candace curls an arm around him instinctively, pulling him close. Her fingers absently run through his hair. No one deserves a good night's sleep more than you, kiddo, she murmurs. Relax. Candace carefully extracts herself from Johnny's sleepy hold, making sure not to disturb his well-deserved slumber. She steps toward the door, ears pricked. That noise, it wasn't just her imagination. She could hear it again, louder this time. Tightening her grip on her Glock, she cautiously pushes the door open, stepping into the second cable car. Candace's blood runs cold as she sees him, William, more monster than man now, limping forward with agonizing slowness. His mutated form barely resembles the scientist he once was, and his roar is a grotesque mix of pain and fury. She raises her gun, her aim unwavering despite the horror twisting in her gut. You just don't know when to quit, do you? She mutters, finger hovering over the trigger. William's glowing eyes lock onto her, and he snarls, Guess I'll have to teach you. Blam! Candace's bullets strike true, one after another, punching into William's skull until one finally shatters his eye socket, sending viscous fluid spraying. He staggers, then collapses to his knees with a guttural groan. For a moment, he just sits there, head hanging, body trembling. Candace doesn't lower her gun. "Stay down," she growls. Then, he twitches. Her finger tenses on the trigger again. Final warning. William howls in pain, his warped frame struggling to withstand the onslaught. The acid rounds burn through skin, tissue, bone. Even the G-virus can't keep up with the sheer magnitude of damage. He writhes in agony, the room filling with the sickeningly acrid scent of melting flesh. Through gritted teeth, he gasps out a rasping plea. "Enough, enough, please." Candace watches, her jaw tight, not with satisfaction, but grim resignation. William's twisted form continues to decay before her eyes, the acid eating away at him relentlessly. She exhales sharply. "You're right," she mutters. "This isn't fun. But after everything you've done, everything you've caused, you don't get mercy." She fires one last round, point blank. Toom. The explosion finishes what the acid started, reducing him to little more than a smoking, twitching mass. Candace holsters her weapon, turning away without another word. Some victories don't feel like victories at all. The impact sends Candace crashing forward, her vision blurring as pain lances through her skull. She barely manages to catch herself before face-planting, fingers gripping the floor for balance. Behind her, William, or what's left of him, staggers closer, his regeneration pushed to its absolute limit. His body is a patchwork of exposed muscle and half-formed bone, barely holding together as he raises the metal plate again. Candace whirls, dodging the next swing by a hair's breadth. "Seriously," she snarls, her blood trickling from her temple. "You just won't die." She ducks another wild strike, rolling to grab her fallen grenade launcher. Boom! The blast hits him square in the chest, vaporizing what little flesh remained. This time, when the smoke clears, he stays down. Candace spits out blood, wiping her mouth with the back of her hand. "Took you long enough." Candace's teeth grit as she pours rounds into William's mutating corpse, her machine gun roaring until the magazine clicks empty, but she doesn't stop. With a snarl, she slams the eject button for the cable car's emergency release. Whoosh! The mechanism activates instantly, the force of the separation flinging William's liquefied remains into the abyss below. What's left of him hits the tracks with a sickening splat, his gelatinous mass spreading under the wheels of the train. Candace exhales sharply, watching through the closing doors as the distance grows. And stay gone. She reloads, just in case. Candace doesn't move. Minutes stretch into hours, her fingers still resting on the trigger, her breath steady but guarded. She watches the darkened tracks behind them, half expecting some grotesque claw to latch onto the train, some final impossible resurgence. But nothing comes. The train rattles onward, the silence almost deafening after so much chaos. Most nightmares don't have endings, but this one did. Finally, she lowers her weapon. "Guess that's it," she murmurs, more to herself than anyone else. She turns away from the window, exhaustion settling deep into her bones. Time to rest. Candace grins as the wind whips through her hair, her motorcycle purring beneath her like a purring metal beast. Beside her, Johnny's laughter rings out, the sound almost giddy. "Woo! Now this is living," he whoops, holding on to her jacket. She chuckles, reaching out to give him a playful nudge. Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts, kid. You're in for a rough ride." Candace barks out a laugh, glancing over her shoulder at Johnny with a wicked grin. "Oh, way worse," she says, revving the engine for emphasis. "At least this time, the monsters are outside the city limits." Purr groans from the back seat, shaking his head. "Great. So we traded zombies for bears." Candace's smirk widens. "Relax. Bears don't shoot back." Johnny groans. "You just had to jinx it, didn't you?" She laughs, loud, unburdened, as the Harley roars down the open road,